Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining us. This is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, following President Cyril Ramaphosa's inauguration for a second term as South Africa's head of state, the work to form a government will begin in earnest. Now, the makeup of President Ramaphosa's cabinet will be determined by the agreement signed between the ANC, the DA, as well as the IFP and other smaller parties. However, the Gift of the Givers founder, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, says that the ANC is making a big mistake by excluding parties like the EFF as well as the MK party. Now, both parties actually shunned the inauguration at the union buildings today. Now, we are going to be chatting to Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman right now. He does join me. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Prime Live, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's a pleasure having you. I just want to get into this conversation with you. I've been seeing you trending quite a lot on social media platforms. Various different news outlets and platforms have been speaking about you, getting many shares and retweets and likes. Again, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, you were at the inauguration today and expressed your misgivings about this move by the ANC to form a government of national unity that excludes other parties. What is your main concern about this?
The problem is, this is not a government of national unity. When 25% of the electorate is left out, EFF's got around 10% and the MK's got 14.5%. 25% of the population is not represented. That's not a small amount. And with the MK have taken a huge percentage in KZN, you're effectively shutting out a large number of people. And then when the president said a lot of good things. He acknowledged the problems the party has had. They have not delivered. Voters are not happy. He identified all the problems that the country faces. He spoke about, making development Africa. All that is excellent. I support him fully on those issues. And then he said, this is a government of national unity. We work in the interest of the people. And, we're going to talk to all political parties. But two of the main parties you've left out. And that's a major problem for me. And secondly, those parties have more in common with you than any other party in the government of selective unity. I don't call it national unity. The government of selective unity, they've been in the trenches with you. They've been your friends. They've done things together. And to exclude them is a horrendous mistake. We're asking for trouble. We're asking for friction. We're going to have challenges all along the way. The best way forward is to include them and work together with them. On the other side, I'm asking the EFF and the MK not to make unreasonable requests. You can't ask for the removal of Cyril. That's the choice of the ANC. You can't enforce on another party what you want. When it comes to negotiations, there has to be compromise in the interest of a functional working government and in the interest of the people of the country. And I say, take out the egos. I know you've got grievances, you have problems and you have difficulties, but the bigger picture is to be inside government, not outside, and make the changes from inside. I'm not meaning change the leader of the ANC. That's their choice. They will do what they want. The same way you can't ask for the change of the leader of the MK or the EFF. That's not fair to ask. That's for the parties themselves to decide. But what's fair to ask is that you come together and work together and make compromise and, find a solution that's amicable, not in the interest of yourself, but in the interest of the country.
No, without a doubt. And just touching on those two parties that were excluded from the GNU, we're talking about the EFF and the MK party. The MK party, like you did mention, did extremely well when it comes to KZN. But we did see that a large amount of security personnel and, they did install actually a large amount of security that was actually pushed through to KZN in particular, just to be able to prevent any issues from happening. I wanted to know, in your opinion, do you foresee any trouble down the line with regards to the exclusion of the EFF and the MK party if things don't change?
I don't see foresee any violence or any that kind of action. And there was no need to even send security in the first place. The leaders are very rational. Election time, people talk rough language. That's normal. It happens in every election anywhere in the world. That's normal. But actually implementing and being violent, that doesn't happen. The pundits were saying, these elections will be a big problem. There's going to be violence. Why should there be violence? What's the cause of the violence? Why should people fight each other? Everybody has a fair chance to vote. Everybody has a fair chance to represent itself. The leaders are very rational, and they've all said, they're not for violence. So to me, it was not necessary actually to send a defense force into KZN. It's not necessary then. It's not necessary now. It's not necessary in the future. We have national leaders in both parties who who understand that the country needs peace and that the province needs peace, and it will be irrational and irresponsible for them to call for violence. If they call for violence, they don't deserve to be called leaders in any case. So I don't see a problem, but the masses may get upset because they will feel excluded. The masses are hurting. Even the ANC is hurting. Let's be honest. Even the ANC is hurting. Within the ANC itself, there's lots of unhappiness. I mean, I've spoken to many, many of them. This is like taking your brothers and cutting them off completely, and saying, you're not part of us. It's a horrendous mistake.
No, that's true. And I mean, I just want to touch on something as well. If you're looking at countries, for example, that have civil society, that has a strong civil society, they tend to do a lot better than countries that don't actually have, civil society groups in place or leaders that are outside of government that hold government individuals accountable or even various different political parties accountable. And I know that you're someone that is, very well loved and respected in South Africa because of the work that you do. But you've also now come out to be able to share some form of intervention where you did actually emphasize that you are willing to create the relationship or allow the talks to happen between, former President Jacob Zuma and the current President Ramaphosa for them to be able to start, having discussions and having conversation. Tell us a little bit more about that in particular.
Well, that wasn't from me. I was asked on a radio interview today that if I'm asked to intervene, will I intervene? Yes, I will intervene, but it has to come from them. You don't impose yourself on other people, other leaders. If they want you, and everybody feels that you'll be fair to all, it's including the EFF, by the way, not only the MK. So the ANC, EFF, and MK, if the leaders feel they want me to participate, yes, I will participate, because this country is special to me. Liberation movements are special to me, and the masses are special to me. It's always better to have peace and understanding. There will be disagreement. There's disagreement between husband and wife, between parents and children. It's not abnormal. And disagreement is good. It makes you stronger. It makes you deal with situations better. So I hope there's disagreement. The more disagreement, the better it is, because it helps us in our humanity to find solutions and work through it and become closer together. Mandela said that if you're not prepared to make a compromise, don't come to the negotiating table. So I'm asking them all to make a compromise and come to the negotiating table, because if the ANC and the National Party were so far apart and they could find a solution, it's not logical or rational to me that guys that were in the trenches together, they had the same ideology, that struggled together, that died together, that went to detention together, were exiled together, can't find common ground. That's totally illogical. I can't understand that concept.
Yeah, many South Africans agree with you, and a lot of them are actually standing behind your stance that you did share on various social media platforms as well. I just want to come back, though. Let's just talk about this government of selected unity or national unity. Now, many South Africans have actually expressed their feelings about this arrangement, many of which actually some people believe, well, not many, but some people actually believe that it could be better. Some people believe that it's the biggest mistake as well for the country and its people. Do you think people have been misled into thinking this way, that it could actually be a great thing for the country?
I can't say they've been misled. People, I don't know what's in the thoughts of the political party leaders. Maybe they decided that's the best way, but then they shouldn't call it a government of national unity. It isn't a government of national unity. During Mandela's time, everybody was included. Yet 25% of the liberation movement of people are excluded. It's not right. It's the wrong name. And you're hoping that you can go forward without including big role players. I mentioned it's a big mistake, but I can't say that they did this deliberately to mislead the people. Maybe they themselves believe that it's going to work in that way. I don't know. I can't speak for them.
No, definitely. And I mean, I just want to touch on some of the other words that you mentioned and some of the other comments that you made in that viral video. You spoke about the fact that this arrangement is probably because of external influence or that of the markets, for example. I mean, if you're looking at today and you're looking at the rand, it did strengthen a lot, and it was actually trading at around 17 rand to the dollar. Is that not a sign that this arrangement actually bodes well for the economy?
Well, we always find that when the ANC never did anything that suited the markets, we were hit out. Well, let's take it for example. When we took, Israel to the ICJ, what happened to our markets? What happened to our shares? What happened to disinvestment? People are putting money out of the country. We can't have markets and outside forces and corporates dictate to us what to do. It's not their country. It's our country, and we have to build what's in the best interest. Yes, we'll take a knock. We'll have financial issues, but at the end of the day, no matter who you are, where the person comes from, if there's money to be made in South Africa, they will come to make money. And they know there is money to be made in South Africa. I wouldn't use that as a policy to decide on who the government should be. I would decide on, that party that has the most humanity in them, they should form the government. Because we've seen what happened in the world when people lose their humanity. Money doesn't matter. Life is more important than money.
Without a doubt. And I mean, we are getting a lot of comments and questions coming in from social media as well. A lot of people are saying that, they really wish that you were actually going to be the president of South Africa, because people really do respect and agree with the way that you do look at things as well. But I just want to go back to the conversation that we were having. So yesterday, the DA federal chair, Helen Zille, said on a TV interview that the ANC cannot invite other parties without the consensus of others in the GNU. So there is 3 founding members, and all of them have to expressly agree for a new member to be involved in the GNU. Do you think this arrangement will last for 5 years without them end up splitting up in any way?
All I can say, the ANC can accept something like that. There must be the stupidest liberation movement on planet Earth. You're 40% and you're asking, and 21% is dictating to you what to do. It must be a really dumb party, to be honest. And that's why I say, if the liberation movements come in, nobody can dictate to them what to do.
Now, that's a very, very powerful statement as well, mate. Just in closing, though, before we do let you go, I know you made the point that the EFF and even the MK party are all like splinters from the ANC. So they practically are part of the ANC. They just had their disagreements, and that they should be able to then come together and work together. But the reality is that each of these parties seem more interested in political power, like you did mention in your video as well, egos, instead of the interests of all South Africans. And it would be much easier for the ANC to then work with the DA and other parties for the sake of getting on with the work of governing South Africa. Do you agree that that is the case, or do you think that those egos can actually be put aside and the MK, EFF and ANC can come together to create a real government of national unity?
Of course, egos can be put aside. If people feel respected, if they feel they've been trusted, if they can trust each other, the worst ego can be put aside. Let's go back again. The ANC and the National Party, how close were they? Hundreds of years of apartheid since 1948, on all that period of time, so many years of hardship and difficulty. They could find themselves. I repeat, guys that came from the same trenches, who had the same suffering, same hardship and difficulty. They can't find themselves? No, that's not logical. They can find themselves. If people sit together, it's the tone of voice, the type of negotiations, the negotiator, what's being offered, the intention in which it's being offered, the sincerity. There's lots of factors. And you follow all those rules, I guarantee you, they will find a solution.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Doctor. Thank you so much for joining us on INX Prime.
It's a pleasure. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, guys. That is Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, who is the founder of Gift of the Givers, just sharing with us some of his insights from today's inauguration, and also just to be able to provide more comment on the viral video that went out there that was trending all over social media about the fact that he did say that this is more of a selective government of selected unity and not one of a government of national unity. So we are going to just take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.